Okay guys, how is it going today? So with the Osmo Action, this is a great little camera. I've had it for a while now. I did a full breakdown review. If you want to have a look for that, there's a link down below. Lots of comparisons to the GoPro. But what I'm finding is that there's a couple of things that I'm really missing that I had in the GoPro and I don't have in the Osmo Action. And one of those is SuperView. And in case you don't know what that is, so SuperView is basically GoPro's option to have the widest field of view you can possibly get out of the camera. So it does a full reading of the entire sensor, the 4:3 sensor, then it squashes that down into a 16:9 window, so that there's a lot of distortion in the corners of shot, but it does some sort of trickery so that the center of shot isn't too deformed. Because obviously if you just scaled the entire sensor down, everybody would start to look kind of fat and squishy. Now SuperView isn't going to be for everybody and it's not going to be for every situation, but for me personally I mainly use these action cameras for sort of action type scenarios, so for like kite surfing or mountain biking and things like that. And in those situations when you're actually wearing the camera on your body, having that extra field of view really helps. It helps kind of give the feeling that you're actually there. You know, if it's like a surfer on a wave, you can look down, you can see the front of the surfboard and the guy's shoulder and the wave curling up over his head, all that kind of stuff. And if you're on a mountain bike, you can see the hands on the handlebars working the bike. And also with the wider field of view, the sense of speed is much more sort of obvious, because you've got more of the peripheral vision, so you can see the sort of landscape whipping past you. So it really does help. That extra field of view, just that extra wide angle sort of perspective, really helps with those sort of action type situations, especially when the camera is mounted on the rider or what have you. So anyway, so let's have a look at the difference. So here's a standard shot out of the Osmo Action. This is a 16:9, the standard 4K out of the Osmo Action. Then if we compare that to a GoPro SuperView shot, as you can see, you're getting a lot more information around the edges of shot, but the center of shot is still fairly kind of normal. It's not too distorted. If I just drop a little red box on there for you, so that shows you the extra field of view that the SuperView is giving you in the GoPro that we don't have in the Osmo Action. But I figured out a way around this, so I'll come on to that. But let's have a look at some other things that are worth considering. So with the Osmo Action, so your standard shot is, your standard 4K shot looks like that. But then if we add de-warp on, now de-warp's the Osmo Action's feature to help get rid of the fisheye look, so that horizon lines are straighter and sort of vertical lines are straighter. So if you're looking at a building, it's not all kind of fisheye and kind of bendy looking, if that makes sense. It's a really good feature, but you do lose a bit more field of view. And then we also have the rock steady. If we turn that on, then we lose even more of our field of view, because it has to crop into the center of frame to do the digital stabilization. Again, this is a great feature, but you keep losing more and more field of view with all these different features that you turn on. So the widest field of view the Osmo Action can film in is the 4K 4:3, and that's a full sensor readout, 4,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels, which is the widest field of view we can get. But as you can see, we're now stuck with this 4:3 kind of 1980s aspect ratio, which most people aren't going to want to work with. They prefer the 16:9, which is fits the standard HD TV and all the rest of it. So let's quickly have a look. Here, I'll drop some red boxes on. So that shows you the different field of views in the Osmo Action and how much you're losing in each one of these settings. So even in standard 4K, you're losing a few pixels either side and lots of pixels above and below. And then with de-warp, and then with de-warp and rock steady, you're losing more and more and more, and you're getting this narrow field of view. So what can we do to fix that? Well, let me tell you my findings. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take that 4:3 aspect ratio, so film in 4:3 on your Osmo Action, then stretch it to fit. Now to get a perfect fit for 16:9, we want to stretch the height down by 72% and the width down by 96%. So we're kind of squashing the image, which is okay. That's giving us our widest field of view. But now we've got this image where if we film a person in center of frame right now, they're going to look kind of fat and squashy. So we want to be able to correct it the same way that the SuperView does in the GoPro. So this is what I've come up with. There may be different ways of doing this using lens corrections and things like that, but I've found that this seems to be the most sort of akin to SuperView that you can get. So what we do, I'll call it the Biscuit view hack, for want of, it's not obviously not a hack, it's just a setting, so it's just an effect, but that's what we'll call it. So like I said, you film in 4K 4:3, scale the height down by 72%, scale the width down by 96%, so you're filling the entire frame with the widest field of view the camera has. Then if we add mesh warp effect, now I'm doing this in After Effects, but there'll be lots of different ways you can amend your footage in whatever editor that you use. And what I recommend is we use mesh warp effect with 3 rows and 1 column, because it's just a nice simple distortion that we're doing to correct the squashiness basically. And then what we do, so this is our mesh here, this is our columns. So what we want to do, when you select these 4 points highlighted in red there, and you basically just lift the top ones up and bring the bottom ones down, and that corrects the sort of our squashiness in the center of frame, but it still keeps all of the field of view around the edges, so you're not really losing any of the image at all. You're just distorting the image to kind of correct it so it looks a little bit more natural basically. It is distorted, but it's distorted in exactly the same way as far as I can tell as the SuperView does, and I'll show you side by side in just a minute. So let's have a look at that. So now we have on the left there is the Osmo Action with the 4x3 with my Biscuit view hack. I know it's not a hack, but let's just call it that for the sake of things. And then on the right we have the SuperView. And as you can tell, we've now got a much more similar field of view. The GoPro with lens is still slightly wider than the Osmo, but as you can tell, those two are really quite similar now. That's from exactly the same spot. But we can still see the bits of the tripod there in the bottom left corner, and pretty much it's very, very, very similar field of view. Certainly a lot better than the standard 4x3. And then if we compare that to the standard 16:9 compared to the GoPro, as you can see that we've lost quite a lot of that shot. You can see the boat there, the white boat is getting its nose cut off, whereas in the GoPro it's got quite a lot of room around that, and the same goes for the tripod and everything else. So you can see it has improved our field of view quite a lot over the standard 4K coming out of the Osmo Action. And then obviously if we turn de-warp and rock steady on, there's a huge difference there. Those are just entirely different field of views as soon as you start turning on these other features. So let's have a look at a quick clip just to show you the side by side. So I was just riding down the road on my mountain bike, and I put the GoPro in SuperView and I filmed in 4x3 with the Osmo Action side by side, so you can get a real feel for exactly what difference there is between these now. So it's definitely a hell of a lot closer than it is coming out of camera, with doing this effect. So as you can see by the people in the center of frame there, they're still fairly tall. They're not looking sort of squished and fat like they would be if we just scaled everything without this effect. And you even get the same if you look at the curve of the road. We can see that the curve of the road is pretty much the same as the SuperView. So we are doing pretty much the same effect as the SuperView, but we're doing it in post. We're doing it in our editor rather than the camera doing it. So there you go, that gives you a good idea of the difference. So there you go, you can pretty much get SuperView in your Osmo Action by following these little steps. So there you go guys, I hope that was useful. There is a couple of downsides obviously. You can't, as soon as you start turning on your stabilization and some of the other features, you're going to lose that field of view and you're going to go back to a narrow field of view again with the Osmo Action. But saying that's not too much of a compromise when you think about the GoPro, because the GoPro doesn't have the SuperView and the rock steady, the stabilization effect. It doesn't have all those things, and the de-warp. It doesn't have all those things in 4K. So you haven't got those in the GoPro either. So it's kind of like that we're kind of level playing field basically. But anyway, guys, I hope that was useful. So there you go. You can get SuperView on your Osmo Action as long as you do a little bit of tinkering around with the footage after it comes out, and if you film in 4x3 originally in camera. Anyway, I hope that was useful, guys. Peace out, and yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, ask down below, and also I'll drop in the link for my Osmo Action review down below too. Cheers.